Sarah had always lived paycheck to paycheck, her main bank account a revolving door of deposits and withdrawals. Every month she'd promise herself she'd save, but something always came up: a new gadget, a spontaneous dinner with friends, or an unexpected bill. Her savings account, a lonely, forgotten corner of her online banking, lay mostly dormant. One day, scrolling through a financial advice blog, she stumbled upon the concept of paying yourself first. It wasn't just about saving, it was about prioritizing. The advice resonated with her, especially the idea of automatically transferring money to a separate, less accessible savings account. Determined to make a change, Sarah set up an automatic transfer of $100 from her checking account to a high-yield savings account at a different bank. She intentionally chose a bank she didn't use for her everyday transactions, making it just a little bit harder to casually access. The first few weeks felt strange, her main account looking a little leaner than usual, but she stuck with it. Months passed. The initial discomfort faded, replaced by a growing sense of accomplishment. That separate savings account, once a barren landscape, was slowly but steadily accumulating funds. It became her future fund, a tangible representation of her discipline. One particularly stressful month, her old car decided to die a dramatic death on the side of the highway. In the past, this would have sent her into a spiral of panic and debt, but this time she felt a quiet confidence. She opened her separate savings account and saw a healthy sum staring back at her. It wasn't enough for a brand new car, but it was more than enough for a reliable used one and the tow truck fee. As she drove her new-to-her car home, a feeling of profound relief washed over her. She hadn't just saved money, she had bought herself peace of mind. She had proven to herself that she could be financially resilient. And it all started with that simple, conscious act of paying herself first.
The Freedom Fund. Sarah's Story, Part 2. The new-to-her sedan was more than just a car. It was a trophy of a war won against her own impulses. But for Sarah, the engine of her financial transformation was just starting to rev. Having survived the car crisis without touching a credit card, she felt a surge of financial adrenaline. The evolution of the strategy. Sarah realized that the $100 monthly transfer was her safety net, but she wanted a launch pad. She decided to gamify her progress. Every time she got a raise, a tax refund, or even a small side bonus, she didn't see it as extra spending money. Instead, she followed a new rule, the 50% split. 50% went toward her current lifestyle, the now. 50% was immediately diverted to her separate future fund, the next. By keeping this account at a different bank, one without a linked debit card in her wallet, the money remained invisible, out of sight, out of mind, and steadily compounding. The professional pivot. 2 years into her journey, the intriguing scenario she never expected arrived. Sarah was a mid-level marketing coordinator when she heard whispers that her boutique agency was being merged with a global firm. While her colleagues panicked about job security, Sarah looked at her separate account. It didn't just have car repair money anymore. It had quit power. When the new management offered a voluntary buyout, a lump sum for those willing to leave immediately, most were too terrified to take it. But Sarah saw an opening. She had enough saved to live for 6 months, and the buyout would double that. I'm not just surviving, she realized. I'm positioned. The bold move. Sarah took the buyout.
Within 3 weeks, she used a small portion of her future fund to invest in a professional certification and a high-end portfolio website. Because she had prepaid for her own peace of mind, she didn't scramble for the first low-paying job that came along. She waited. She negotiated. She held out for a senior strategist role at a firm that valued her worth. The new reality. Today, Sarah's bank app looks very different. The revolving door has been replaced by a fortress. Account type, purpose, psychological state. Main checking, bills and lifestyle. Psychological state, disciplined and automated. The catalyst, separate. Opportunities and emergencies. Psychological state, confident and untouchable. Investment portfolio, long-term wealth. Psychological state, excitement for the future. As she sits in her new office overlooking the city, she glances at her phone. A notification pops up. $250 successfully transferred to savings. She smiles. She isn't just paying bills anymore. She's funding a legacy.
The Freedom Fund. Sarah's Story, Part 3. Sarah stood on the balcony of her new apartment, the city lights shimmering like the data points on a growth chart. But she wasn't looking at the view. She was looking at a thick, cream-colored envelope on her bistro table. It was an invitation to be a founding partner in a new, tech-driven marketing startup. The ultimate leverage. The offer was exhilarating, but it came with a catch. The founders weren't just looking for talent, they were looking for skin in the game. To be a partner, Sarah needed to contribute a capital investment of $25,000. For the Sarah of 5 years ago, this would have been a cruel joke. A door slammed in her face because she lacked the key. But the Sarah of today walked over to the table, opened her laptop, and logged into her invisible account. Thanks to her automated discipline and the 50% split rule, the balance didn't just meet the requirement, it exceeded it. The meeting of a lifetime. The following Monday, Sarah walked into a glass-walled boardroom. Across from her sat the 2 lead founders, veteran tech entrepreneurs who were used to seeing applicants scramble for bank loans or ask for payment plans. "We know the buy-in is steep, Sarah," one founder said, leaning back. "We're open to discussing a tiered equity structure if the cash is a hurdle." Sarah didn't hesitate. She slid a certified check across the mahogany table. "There is no hurdle," she said, her voice steady and professional. "I'm in, full equity." The atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. She wasn't just an employee they were hiring. She was a peer who had arrived prepared. By paying herself first for years, she had purchased the most expensive thing on the market, equal footing. The full circle. Months later, the startup launched its first major campaign. As the Chief Growth Officer, Sarah was no longer just managing marketing budgets, she was building a company culture. During the first company-wide meeting, she stood before her team. She didn't just talk about KPIs and conversion rates. She looked at the junior staff, many of whom reminded her of her younger self, living paycheck to paycheck. "We are implementing a new company benefit," Sarah announced. "On top of your salary, the firm will provide a 3% financial resilience bonus, but it won't go into your checking account. We've partnered with a fintech firm to help you set up an automated separate Catalyst account. We're going to help you pay yourselves first." As she walked back to her office, Sarah realized that the $100 transfer she started years ago hadn't just changed her bank balance, it had changed her identity.
She was no longer a consumer of her own life. She was the architect of it. The Pay Yourself First practical template. Inspired by Sarah's journey, here is a breakdown of how to structure your own catalyst strategy. 1. The allocation tiers. Level, percentage, goal. The starter, 5 to 10%. Build the first $1,000 mini emergency fund. The builder, 15 to 20%. Reach 3 to 6 months of expenses, the Quit Power Fund. The catalyst, 20% plus, investing in business opportunities and high-yield assets. 2. The setup checklist. Step 1. The Vault Bank. Open a savings account at a bank different from your daily checking. Do not download the app on your home screen. Step 2. The direct deposit split. Ask your HR department to split your paycheck. Send a fixed amount, for example $100 or 10%, directly to the vault. If it never hits your main account, you won't miss it. Step 3. The lifestyle creep tax. Whenever you get a raise, divert 50% of the increase to the vault. You still feel the raise, but your wealth grows faster.